What's up, everybody, and welcome to a very special stream here. It's not even a stream, I guess. It's a pre-recording of something we're doing after our Capital Mondays. I'm just probably going to publish it Thursday or Friday, I'm not sure. Nance, how's it going, man?
Chilling, man. Just doing my thing, hanging out, enjoying the weather.
It's really nice outside, actually. I'm like getting excited for my run. I'm going to go on after this. Well, okay. So what are we here to talk about? Money realism, which is a term Nance put me onto. I'll talk about it in this actual piece. But putting up a piece and actually just reading it, why not? We do it with other people's writings. Why not with our own writings? And the idea with the Patreon is that the stuff that is going out just to the Substack can also exist in audio video form because of the patrons over at the Patreon. That's one of the things that they are funding, is this extra kind of work. And so shout out to them. Let's get to it. Money realism, or how theory underground caved to neofeudalism. Paywalls everywhere, including the TU Substack. I'm exhausted. My wife is exhausted. We're both working multiple jobs. It shouldn't have to be that way. But it is that way. Anne is so busy working at both Amazon and a state university that she is unable to prioritize the things she cares most about. Tired wife, tired life. I'm fucking over it, man. For my whole life, I've been able to take on the wage earner burden for myself, but seeing her this exhausted kills me. It's not just exhaustion, though. As I get into it in my work on Timenergy, it's the fact that exhaustion frustrates our higher aspirations. We want to be intellectuals, physically fit, healthy in mind and body, and able to organize with friends, build community, and play instruments. With such higher human aspirations frustrated, what's left for most people is either beating yourself up or getting angry at others. Some have a tendency to go one way or the other, but for me, I clutch to this idea of being ruthless against systems and kind to individuals. As a paraphrase of the Michael Brooks quote that made the rounds after he passed away. But the fact is, it's something all the materialist, structural types of leftists always believed in the first place. Insofar as I don't identify so strongly with political identities anymore, it is because I think even in the materialist, structural, radical tradition, there's a stunning lack of material, much less structural kinds of thought. Why try to maintain the identity and reform a movement that would sooner scapegoat your loved ones who voted in a way they see as irredeemable? That structural kind of thinking doesn't come naturally. Learning for the first time the degrees to which environment and structure/systems/institutions factor into framing the horizon of our possibilities was a truly liberating event in my life. Until that point, I only had myself or others to blame. But leftists are mostly not like Michael Brooks. Even when they do focus on systems at the level of their slogans, it is still not rare to see that these are mere words, and that what they are actually in it for is to point out superficial hypocrisies, privilege, or apparent unfairness. The hypocrisy I sometimes catch flack for is charging for my courses. Now that I've added paywalls to my Substack, I can expect the same. Fuck it. In for a penny, in for a pound. So I started a Patreon too. I'm sorry. But we have to be realists. Money realists, to be precise. And then the picture here is of this guy counting his money and it's raining all around him. He's just like, I used, neo-cubist art. Thank you, Midjourney. Money realism is a term that Nance put me onto. I've given him a section here to define it in his own terms.
We find ourselves already in this situation in which our time energy was extracted from us before birth, made universally fungible and exchangeable and expressed in terms of money. We have no choice in this. One can refuse to accept this fact, live in the world where we are all free to chase our dreams, whether or not we have the means, and nothing bad or sad ever happens. But that is a fantasy world only available to those out of reach of that pesky thing known as the real world.
I have a soundbite just for this.
I'm trying to, as much as possible, not participate in our economy. I don't like money. So, I'm trying to live by bartering alone.
It's from a scene in Lady Bird, if you haven't seen that. It's awesome.
Yeah, I thought you grabbed it off like a Vice documentary. It's like it sounded very much like people I've heard in real life.
It's the boy she has a crush on, and he's reading Howard Zinn, you know.
But that is a fantasy world only available to those out of reach of that pesky thing known as the real world. And when the real world cannot touch someone, they are also unable to touch it. We must let go of these silly notions that keep us insulated and prepare ourselves to interface with the real world. We must let out some slack on the line, allowing these golden ideas to be as kites that soar above our baser world and inspire us with their acrobatic fancy. But when it comes to effectively working in and hopefully on the world, we must avail ourselves of the means at our disposal. Money is, functionally and for the most part, the ultimate tool of that system we are trying to understand and escape. Capital. The thing that enters our mother's wombs before we are even fully developed and expropriates all our precious time energy and converts it into value, which is expressed in the world as money. There are some who believe we must not use this tool because it is tainted, and I empathize with them. But the only way we will ever tear down this house is with the tools that built and sustain it. We are living beings trying to understand and change the world in which we live, and as living beings, we have needs. And the most effective and often only way to see to those needs is to use money, the de facto language of the world around us. When in Rome and all that. Letting a movement die because we are too stubborn to admit that we are far from living in an ideal world, and as such must make do with what's available, is unacceptable. We are fighting a seemingly invincible foe, this vampiric demon called capital. We are not interested in distinguishing ourselves as role models or lifestyle ambassadors or spokespeople, and we will not be dissuaded from our chosen path by those who would seek to bring us down out of fear or lack of understanding or even jealousy. Why rail against the all-powerful demon that's way out of your league when you can launch a crusade against those who appear to be just like you with the same or similar circumstances and means? Those people are in reach, worthwhile targets of your emotional excrement. I get it, dude. Shit sucks. But we're not just playing little putt-putt games over here. This is the big leagues. Shit or get off the pot.
Womp, womp, womp. Thanks, Nance. By shit or get off the pot, I think he means subscribe. Agreed. My Substack has been free for years. And what's that done? It gets a heart every once in a while from a fellow traveler who has their own project, like literally Cadell and OG Rose, and that's it. Thanks, guys. But where's the readership? The fact is, it isn't there. Or if it is, it takes this content for granted. In a world run by money, people value what they can have. I'd like to see that change. Until then, we live in a subscription economy, as in neofeudalism. This is nothing like feudalism in a million ways, but the essential idea is that we own nothing and pay rent on everything we want access to. We have to make choices when we do this, because all artists and intellectuals are forced to play along. There are pros and cons with this change, but it is here, and I personally need my time energy to do this thing. Theory Underground is not just a hobby. It is the culmination of a decade's research and study, which has only just laid the basis for what I really need to do in the next 20 years. I should have said beyond research and study, like the actual organizing. Like that's the hardest part, is the actual organizing and the trials and tribulations of organizing work. So what are we being realists about concerning money? Everything has a cost, and the price rarely reflects the real cost. My courses are 1/1000th of the price of competing institutions. My subscriptions even undercut those prices if someone truly takes advantage of what they offer. But I still catch flack for being a critic of capitalism and yet charging for courses. What people don't understand is that the cost of the work I do far outweighs the price I put on my courses. The cost is not just my own time energy that goes into Theory Underground, but also the cost that is put on my family when I have to work 2 other jobs on top of Theory Underground, not to mention the cost that is put on all of us when Anne has to work full time. Do you know how that makes our little boy feel? Our little boy, Ryan Gosling, our cat. You know how he feels when daddy's always busy? How do you think he feels? Think about our cat. Think about how sad he is because I'm not playing tag with him. He wants me to chase him, but instead I have to work. The human toll this takes is beyond words. And of course I get, okay, no, but for real, okay, I just made light of it, but actually I was angry when I wrote this. I was angry because I was thinking about people who have over the years always kind of held this line that it's hypocritical to take money. I was angry because I was watching Anne beat herself up because she couldn't do X, Y, and Z things in the day because she was too exhausted, because she only had a couple hours to recover from work yesterday before she had to go back to work today. All right. The human toll this takes is beyond words. And of course, I get it. The prices and paywalls are a turnoff, especially if you're broke or struggling to get by. But you still pay for things you like. So why not TU? Do you think the only workers who should get paid fairly for their hard work are working for big established corporations? Yeah, or is it factory workers? Only factory workers should get compensated fairly. What internet people don't tend to realize is that the IRL costs behind all the content they take for granted is unpaid labor. I know I'm shouting into the wind here, or preaching to the choir. The kinds of people who say these kinds of things probably don't even read this far. That's fine. But I have to say it, because I'm that kind of person who is unsatisfied with simply knowing I'm correct. I need people to know I've put some thought into this. So yes, I'm charging for things, and I'm going to gather subscriptions through any means possible until I have extricated myself and my wife and Michael Downs from wage labor so that we can do Theory Underground full time and even have a life outside of it. We're not supposed to be able to do such things. We're not supposed to escape without huge penalties, such as homelessness and an early death. Fuck that. I'm going to burn down the whole thing with the concept of Timenergy and an alternative education platform that brings theory to workers with earbuds. If you want to support my work, there are increasingly more and more ways to do so. If your thing is Substack, as in reading the thoughts of others who live the life of the mind, and you want me to do more of this kind of writing, as in ranting screeds about whatever I'm thinking about, then please consider signing up. If I can get an additional $500 per month by February 18th, I'll quit my job at Amazon and focus on Theory Underground full time. Help make it happen. The time is now. Yeah, man.
Tight, yeah!
I'm trying to, as much as possible, not participate in our economy. I don't like money.
It
So,
just makes me want to cut someone up.
by bartering.
This world's fucking so fucked up.
All right. That's pretty much it. But Nance, you fucked up pretty seriously. I want you to scroll back down there to the bottom of this post and look at it long and hard. Tell me how you fucked up. What do you see? What do you see there? I have to make an example of you.
I didn't heart it or
yeah, there you
comment
go.
it or anything.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Just give it a little.
Well, as you're
not
aware,
sh-
I wasn't even logged into Substack because
I
I
know.
rarely even open Substack. But
Yeah.
anyone who's watching this is what you do. You click this. And
then you
then
click share.
you write a
Share with
comment.
friend. The time is now. There you go.
And then you can like share it and all that. I don't share shit. I'm not that guy, but you can share. Yeah. Click all
There's
those
join-
buttons and do all those things.
There's joiners. There's sharers. These are all kinds of people you cannot be. But you can also be a commenter, you know? There's nothing wrong with that. Folks, I don't know. In all seriousness though, I wrote this while angry. But when Nance wrote it, I don't know what you're feeling, man. I don't think anger came out. Okay, for me it wasn't anger, it was frustration. But you know, they're related. But I guess I kind of wanted to just ask you like who you arguing with, or like, you know, you don't have to give names, obviously. I'm just kind of, but you have an idea in your head of you're actually saying like you're like I get it, dude, right? So it's like you're actually this. I think both of us have like some kind of like this other in mind that is it your past self?
I think it's largely informed by my past self. Because I do care. And
Yeah.
I get it. Like money does suck. It does suck that so many things are mediated, or that everything is mediated through money, and so many things are determined by money. So many people miss out on the opportunity just to have a happy fucking life due to money. I get it. So yeah, I think I'm largely talking to, you know, my younger self, but also there are other people out there on the internet, and I'm not like, I don't regularly give a shit about what people are saying. But it is very fucking frustrating. Like there have been people like when we've been reading, you know, we've been 6 hours deep on a reading and people are like, "Oh, you're a fucking shill." Or we've been 10 hours deep on a fucking live stream where we've had 10 guests and like doing all this dope shit where people will come in and just be like, "Oh, self-promotion, self-promotion." That's fucking frustrating. That's annoying. And it's like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like you're a bitch. And I mean that in the worst way possible. You're a fucking bitch, dude. Stop being a bitch. Fucking do something with your life. Like so yeah, like it's not anger. It is frustration, it's exasperation, it's exhaustion, it's all these things. But also, like I am also invested. I want to be better.
Yeah.
I want to do these things, and I'm barred from things due to money. And that's another fucking layer of frustration. Like it is a complex thing. And it's just very frustrating. It's very unfortunate, but we're adults and we have to be realistic, and things that fucking matter to us, like we do pay for things that matter to us without even giving it a second thought all the time.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude, when I order DoorDash because I'm hungry, but I don't care enough to go get food or whatever, the convenience at that moment, the convenience and the shitty fast food, like those matter to me enough to pay the additional $10 or whatever it is to get it DoorDash. And that's just something that I'll do without even thinking about it. But then something like this, again, this is a singular fucking thing that's going on. It's a long-term project. Like all this shit that we're constantly talking about matters to me. And I know it matters to other people too. Doesn't matter in the same way. But for people to then come in on the back of that and shit on it, it's like, fuck you. But for real though, fuck you, dude. Like, fuck you, dude. You're a fucking bitch. Fuck you.
And stop scaring away the rich people. That's the other thing. I'm so tired of fucking every poor kid on the fucking street coming over and being like, "Oh yeah, fuck people with money." It's like, bitch, I don't have any fucking money. None of us have any fucking money. Shut up. You're scaring away Frederick Engels and his friends.
You're blowing up the spot, dude. You're blowing up the fucking spot.
Yeah, it's like if I was playing music and I was busking in the middle of the city and I had a fucking guitar case open and people were throwing pennies and quarters and sometimes a $20 bill in there, and someone came by looking all like, oh, this is interesting. And this person sitting next to me is like, oh, fuck people with money and fuck money and fucking, I'd be like, get out of here, man. I'm trying to quit my job. I'm not trying to.
Can you imagine that though? Can you imagine? Because the people who would celebrate the busker, and then look, I love busking. I've not busked,
Yeah,
but
it's
I've
awesome.
had good friends that actually like made a living busking, and it, you know, was a paltry living, but whatever. Like as a form of art, I think it is dignified. But the type of person who would celebrate the busker, there's a lot of crossover between the person who celebrates the busker and the person who shits on the person on the internet who's trying to literally develop new types of technology with the medium that we're experiment. Like, if you want to be like, oh, that's dope, that dude's out there doing his art form and he's pursuing it genuinely and he's doing it on his own terms, and that is cool. I agree with you, that is dope. But also, then you want to turn around and come over here and be like, you're a fucking shill. Fuck you, dude. There are motherfuckers out here doing, like, performing whatever this is. They're performing that they're doing it, but they're fucking not. And I think we can speak with a little bit of I don't want to say expertise, but a little bit of insider knowledge, because it is documented. There's, at this point, hundreds of hours of us on the internet doing this. They're not, but they want to act like it, and they're making bank, and they're out here like, oh, look, I'm so radical, I'm so cool, I'm such a cool leftist, or I'm such a smart person, or I'm such a this, I'm such a that, and motherfuckers just, oh, here's money, Patreon, Substack, all the things. Like, you're just fucking like, but they're not doing the thing. And then over here, there is actually, the thing is being done. And then all these little shitty bitches want to come in and be like, oh, you're a fucking shill. Fuck you. Go get a job, dude. Maybe if you work a job for 10 years and you actually get some real world experience, and you understand, because there's a little bit more contrast, because you're not living in this little sheltered, perfect fucking world where you get what you want when you want it, get your fucking chicken tenders and your chocolate milk and all this shit. Then you'll understand the difference, because there is a fucking qualitative difference, and it's evident. It does really
chicken tenders and your chocolate milk. It's so funny.
Yeah.
No, for real. So I appreciate it, man, coming to bat for me here. And the fact is it's look, there's a lot of people lined up for these Patreons that have I don't know, $10,000 per month. And I'm not jealous. I am envious. I want to be able to live my life in a way where I could be free of wage labor. And the thing is like, I also feel like it's stupid. I understand, like, this element of me is stupid, but it's like, I also feel like I'm entitled to that, because I know I'm working way harder than they are. I work harder than Abigail Thorne. I work harder than Natalie Wynn. I work harder than, I could just go down the list of people in TheoryTube. I'm just telling you, I've worked my ass off to avoid the algorithmic incentives and put quality before quantity, and not worry about the bells and whistles and saying things in the right way to appeal to a bunch of people who are never going to actually try to read the things for themselves. And what has resulted is, it has cultivated an awesome sort of disparate catch of people who are really into this, that, or the other theorist. But also, we do have a handful now of people who are there for it. They're like, oh yeah, it's not just Marx, it's not just Heidegger, it's not just Levinas, it's not just Lacan, it's not just Žižek, it's all of these things. And they understand they're never going to be able to get a grasp on these things without somebody who went into the debt and has been studying it for X amount of years, in my case, like 10, 11 at this point, to be able to help make it more accessible. And we're not even there, man. We're still getting founded. We're going to have introductions for everything. We're going to have deep dives for everything. And we're going to go back over it again. And so what's here is just the beginning, but we do need people to make that possible. And so it's a big vision, and maybe it's too big for this reality, and I'll just have to go work a stupid job. But I've had enough people talk shit at this point where they're like, oh, go get a real job. And it's like, bitch, I'm working a real job. What are you talking about? I would like to stop though. I would like to stop that and just do this. Yeah, I'm sorry. That makes sense to me. But no, you get like, oh, you just use your words. You're not doing real work. It's like, I do real work. And then also I would say that building the website and the app and then doing all these things that require all the organizing and then the actual research itself, not the fun part, the hard part. That's a real value. Now, does it make sense in your world of exchange value? No. Does it make sense in some people's world of use value? No. But it's a kind of value, and it's a kind of value that some people really get. And a lot of those people see me as a friend or see me as a fellow traveler. They don't want to put themselves in a follower box. They don't want to see themselves as like diminishing the role because they're paying money for it. And that's where I'm just like, dude, if I was at the farmer's market and I was your buddy and you came by and you wanted a taco and I was making tacos at the farmer's market, you wouldn't be like, oh, this is going to undermine the friendship if I give you money. But as soon as it's on the internet, people are like, oh, this is going to make it parasocial. And I had one of my patrons say that recently, was like, oh, I'm happy to do this, but I'm sure it'll start to feel parasocial if after you get enough followers on here. And it's just like, guys, it's already parasocial. The only thing that breaks the parasociality is really the tour, like getting involved in real events, actually reading my words and then realizing you disagree with me, actually being with me in real life and realizing we don't vibe quite the way you thought we were going to. Like, the only thing that breaks the parasocial thing is the actual relation, and you get to that to some degree by getting beyond the image and getting into the books. But we're never going to get that far if we can't get this right. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah. I was going to say, if you take these other people who are making a lot more money on the internet, if you take them at their word and if you take them at face value, then I think you would be entitled, because again, I think it is clear. Like, I think the difference is clear. But I don't know. But then, I mean, that was me being a little bit carried away with being frustrated and angry and on it, like a little too invested.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, we don't need to be petty. Like, it doesn't come down to comparison and this and that, although we can't escape making comparisons. No, it is the case that, like, look, if you get it, quote, at whatever level, then it's a thing that requires material resources. It's a process that can't operate on hopes and dreams.
Yeah.
What was it?
I have a landlord.
We eat words and get drunk on dreams or whatever.
I forget. Yeah. From
yeah, it doesn't work that way in real
Gutenberg.
life.
Yeah. No, I have to rent this space. This is a piece of shit house and it's very expensive. And so that's kind of just the way it's going to be. And you all know what that's like. And so hopefully teaming a little bit of work will help that. Also, just don't scare away people who have money. I feel like that's probably the most important thing here. That's the thing, is like, we're not a bunch of like Soros funded anarchists who get to act like the money comes from nowhere. We all understand that with the Frankfurt School, the funding all came from Felix Weil. Right? We understand with Marx, all the funding came from Engels. We understand that you actually need to free yourself from all of these things if you're not just running around throwing bricks, but you're actually trying to read things and understand stuff, right? Like, all right. Well, this is hopefully the last time we'll ever talk about this. From now on, we'll be able to clip this and share it with people. And so don't worry, folks, this is not going to be a normal part of our banter. The reason we wanted to get it out of our system is so that we can just link it in the future. If someone's like, we'll go, oh yeah, totally get it, man. Here you go. Here's a URL. Check it out. We'll put it into the stream bot and everything. So stay tuned. We've got a lot of really cool stuff coming soon. Peace.